You know all about the shutter speed, ISO, aperture and other manual settings. But how do you take those awesome shots you've always seen professional photographers take? Well, this is where this video comes in. What's up guys, this is Rupesh from bbomb.com, and today I'm going to show you some really handy DSLR tips and tricks that beginners will really find useful. Before we get started, make sure to hit the bell icon to get notifications for all our future videos. With that being said, let's get started. We are using the Canon 70D with the kit lens for most of the shots in this video. But the method should be similar even if you're using another camera or another kit lens. If you capture a lot of nighttime photos or low light photos and you see a lot of noise, well, the problem is the high ISO. Let me show you. As you can see, I'm trying to capture a shot in a very dark scenario. Let me just bump the ISO to max because only then I'm getting a bright image. Well, the photo is definitely bright, but there's a lot of noise. So let's just fix the ISO to 400 because that seems pretty optimum. Now slowing the shutter speed to 0.4 seconds while keeping the aperture at f3.5. The captured photo with these settings is decently lit and it's pretty nice. But let's brighten up the shot a little more. So now I'm slowing down the shutter speed to 30 seconds, which is the max in our camera. But the shot just brightened up a bit too much because the camera is capturing too much light from a direct light source. Now I'm taking a shot with the same 30-second shutter speed while setting the aperture to f22. Now this is the perfect shot in my opinion, at least in this scenario. Do note that you need to make sure that the camera stays still when you set a slower shutter speed. Also, you might have to play with these settings depending on the light. Well, it's all about hitting that sweet spot. Here are some more photos that I took in low light. There are times when you want to take a shot of a moving object, and I'll tell you how to take it perfectly. First, let's take a shot of the moving object, that is me, on auto. You can see that it freezes the object, but when you zoom in, it's blurred. Well, let's move on to the manual mode, shall we? In manual mode, we are in broad daylight, so the shutter speed has to be very fast, at 1/1000 seconds. Well, you can set the ISO and aperture depending on the light. Now when you capture a photo, you can see that when you zoom in, the object is sharp, no more blurry moving shots. Light trail shots look very cool, and well, you can easily capture them by playing with the shutter speed and aperture in your camera. For instance, here I'm increasing the shutter speed to 2 seconds, while not really changing the aperture or the ISO, which are at f3.5 and 100 respectively. Well, here's the shot which does not look that great, right? Well, you can refine things. I'm lowering the aperture to f22 and also increasing the shutter speed to 10 seconds for a better light trail effect. Here is the photo, and as you can see, the light trail does look good, but you can get an even better shot. I'm slowing down the shutter speed to our camera's max at 30 seconds while keeping the aperture and the ISO same. As you can see, with slower shutter speed, the light trail looks amazing. This is indeed my favorite photo of the lot. If you've seen our video on the kit lens versus the prime lens, you'd know that the kit lens, aka the zoom lens, isn't very great when it comes to bokeh shots. However, let me tell you, you can take better portrait from the kit lens. First, let me take a portrait in auto. When we capture in auto, the camera tends to use flash at times, which really makes the image artificial with unnatural light. Now switching to manual, I've set the shutter speed to 1/100, and here's a photo with a lower f-stop of f29. As you can see, lower the aperture, the lesser the bokeh effect. Here's a photo with a higher f-stop of f5. And as you can see, the effect is definitely better. Here's another photo with the aperture set to max of f3.5. So yes, if you want to take better portraits from a kit lens, you need to set a higher aperture. Landscape photos are something that most of us love to capture. However, at times we don't get an all sharp photo, which is a shame. For instance, I'm capturing a photo at an f3.5 and a shutter speed of 1/50 with the minimum ISO that's possible. So you can see in the photo that it's focused on an area in the water and it's not all around sharp. So let's set the f-stop aka the aperture. To minimum possible with the shutter speed set to 1 second. You can see that this results in a much all across sharper photo. Here are some more landscape photos that we have taken. Why do you need filters to make your photos more visually attractive when you have white balance to play with? Let me show you how a single frame looks like with different white balance options. Here's a photo at auto where the camera decides the white balance automatically. While the image looks natural, it seems a bit dull. Well, you can make the shot more appealing. There's the daylight white balance option that does not really make a difference because, well, it's daylight. The shade option brings a yellowish tint. And here's a photo with the cloudy option. Now here's one with the tungsten option, which adds cooler colors to the shot. Here's my favorite, the white fluorescent white balance option, which brings a light warmer tone to the image. That does look more appealing to the eye. In fact, I use this white balance option all the time. You can also set a custom color temperature to see what suits you best. You can play with the option till you find the perfect setting. Like, I think 4000 is perfect for the shot. Well, it all boils down to you. Also, do note that at times the camera at auto might suggest a wrong white balance, and that's where different white balance options can come in handy. If your camera's display is too small for you, the good news is you can use your Android smartphone as a low cost yet very handy external monitor for your camera. Canon offers its very own EOS remote app so that you can use your Android smartphone as a monitor. The EOS remote app connects to the camera via Wi-Fi, so you'll have to set up Wi-Fi first in your camera. Once done, you'll be able to remotely control the camera through your phone, adjust focus, exposure values, and do a lot more. While the EOS camera app works well, the connection via Wi-Fi can be laggy at times. If you'd like a more stable connection, you can use the DSLR controller app, a paid app that lets you connect your phone to a DSLR via Wi-Fi or a USB cable. The app only works with Canon EOS cameras, and with the app you get a remote live view, and you can even control most common settings, while also being able to capture, focus, and control the zoom. That's not all. You can even preview an image or video, import files from your camera, and do a lot more. Apart from these DSLR tips, I'll suggest you to make sure you focus properly while capturing a photo or even shooting a video. You can set the focus via the viewfinder or manually through the lens. You can also lock the focus on an object to make sure the focus stays on even if there's movement. Other than that, make sure to select the raw image setting and explore the camera settings in general. And who knows, you might find some handy options there. Lastly, avoid using flash. It mostly ruins the shots. Well, those were some really handy DSLR tips and tricks that I think you'll definitely find useful. If you did, give this video a thumbs up, and if you have any doubts, do let me know in the comment section below. Also, subscribe to our channel for more amazing tech videos. Well, that's me signing off. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.